everyone, my name is ZeBirdBrain and today we are copy pasting stuff. In Harmony, if you copy paste something, everything is copied and pasted because that's what it does. So if I take my node and I copy paste it, everything is linked together. So if I draw something here, it'll also appear on the copy. If I change the exposition or the timing of something, it's gonna affect both of the nodes. So everything is copied from drawing to functions. But first, what is a function? A function is created as soon as an element has gotten a keyframe at least once in its life. As soon as you create a drawing, the function is also there. So if you copy paste that node, then both your drawings are linked together. This is not true, however, for a peg. So if I create a peg and I connect it here, you see I don't have any functions there. And how do I know that? Is because I can still enter numbers here. But as soon as I put a keyframe on my peg, so if I move it around, now I cannot enter any numbers here, and it's because all these parameters now have a function. So a function is basically just a little curve that you will find in your node. So now it's not a curve because I only have one keyframe, but if I had multiple keyframes, now I would have a curve that I can animate. And that curve will also be copy pasted if you copy paste your peg or your drawing or anything that has a function. So if you see that your numbers are like that, it's because there's a function. To remove it, you can quickly just Ctrl-Z until you don't have a keyframe. Or if it's too late, you can just go here and select local. So then it's going to go back to its original position. Alright, so now that you know that copy pasting in Harmony copies everything, including function, we're going to talk about the little rules of how it's actually handled in the software. So I'm going to explain the concepts concerning drawings and pegs because they're a bit different in how they work. So here's how it works. If you copy paste a drawing layer, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, their animations are both linked, keyframes and drawing substitution included. So that's why if you move a drawing, both of them move in your timeline. And if you edit a drawing, both of them are edited. If you duplicate a drawing layer, they will still share the same drawings they already had, but they will not be linked together. Not in timing, not in drawing substitution, nor in keyframes. So let's try that. I'm gonna go here, select my drawing, go in Edit, Duplicate. So let's try that with the duplicate. If I move my drawing in the timeline, the animation is not linked with the other, and if I redraw something, the drawings are not linked together either. So duplicate actually duplicates only what you have, but it breaks the function link. So that's what you have to remember. Copy paste will keep your functions, but duplicate will break the link between the functions. So with drawings, you also have another option, which is to take your drawing, and if you right click or you go in edit, you can get the clone selected layer, but only the drawings. So what this does is you will share the same drawings. So if I change this one, they will all change, but if I change the timing of the cloned drawing layer, the exposure doesn't follow. So this is very useful for drawing substitutions in a rig for hands or for anything that is going to repeat from one side to the other. But that will be for another video. So what you have to remember is that your original drawing, if you copy paste it, both your drawings and your function will be linked together, which means that if you redraw something, it will affect all of it. So if you copy paste a peg or another node, such as an effect node, that has never gotten any animation, it will copy paste everything from the attribute to the pivot information or anything that you enter here. So it will copy paste it to the other, but they will not be linked, so I can still change it. So this works for effects, it works for pivots and pegs. So you can copy paste your node as long as it doesn't have any animation. So if you copy paste a peg or another node that has already gotten animation, the functions will all be copied as well. So you will end up with two pegs that do the exact same thing. If I copy paste this peg and I connect it here, both of my crowns are gonna jump at the same time. And if I move this keyframe, it's also going to move on the other peg. Alright, so both pegs are exactly the same. But what if I take this peg and instead I duplicate it and connect it here instead? You will see that they're both doing the same animation until I take, for example, this frame of the duplicate peg. I'm going to rename it. If I move it, it's not going to move the other one because their animation will be the same, but they will not be linked together. So then if I delete this, it's not going to affect the copy. So in a rig, copy pasting pegs is actually very useful because if I create my peg from my little character here, and I place the pivot point in the right place, if I want to have another peg that has the same pivot point, we usually just copy paste the pegs right away. And this is okay, because they never got any animation. However, if I take this peg, and I move it for some reason, if I copy paste it, you'll see, now they have functions and the functions are linked together. Alright, so that's why we say in rigging, if you're new to this, do not copy paste your peg. Always duplicate them so then you're sure that they will never be linked together. And if you know what you're doing, do not copy paste peg that has ever gotten animation. So that's why when I test my rig and I test my pegs, I always do something like that, and then I Ctrl Z to be sure that there is no keyframe on my peg. It's one of the very first thing I learned in Harmony, so I thought I would make a video to help you out about that. So just to make a quick refresher, if you copy paste a drawing layer, their animations are both linked, keyframe and drawing substitution. If you duplicate a drawing layer, they will share the same drawings they already had, but they will not be linked together. Not in timing, not in drawing substitution, nor in keyframes. If you copy paste a peg or another node that has never gotten any animation, it will copy paste everything from attribute to pivot point, but they will not be linked together. Kinda like a duplicate. If you copy paste a peg or another node that has already gotten animation, the drawing function will be copied too. So you will end up with two pegs or two effect nodes that do the exact same thing. If you move one or you change the attribute on one, all the others will act the same. If you duplicate a peg or an effect node that has already gotten animation, the function will not be copied as well. So you will end up with two pegs or two effect nodes that have the same pivot points or the same attribute, but they will not be linked together forever. Alright, so I hope this makes it a bit easier to understand, and I wish you a wonderful week.